I think the one thing that when Rick, I mean, Audrey was the only person on our list from the get-go. I'd seen plenty of her work and was a fan already. And then when Rick met her, he was like head over heels, like, oh my God, she's great. I'm not gonna like tip the scales, like you meet her on your own, but like she's really great. I'm like, all right, I'll meet her. And we were both doing like dry January at the time. And yeah, we were right into it. And I was like, I just feel like we're just having like water at a, we're like not eating, we're just grabbing water at like 4 o'clock. Maybe just like one tequila, and then one tequila turned into like 8 tequilas, and we had like a 4-hour great sesh where we just went over life. I mean, I'm not even sure how much we talked about the script. It was just more about life at that point.
Yeah.
And then
we spoke a little bit about the script and the ideas that I kind of had for Madison at the beginning, and then once we started drinking tequila, it was like, who are you, Glenn?
Yeah, we got into it. But that's the other thing is like you realize when you make a movie with somebody, like you're like teammates on this thing, and especially with the way Rick works, which is like we are all crafting this story together and crafting these roles together and crafting the script together. So like we're not just executing a story, we are building the story together. Yeah. So I knew she was going to be an integral part of this the story, and it's been so fun to watch how Audria's brain is like all over this movie, and like the small choices that she made that she was really resolute on and really committed to turned out to be choices that if we didn't have her brain and instincts on it, it wouldn't be what it is. So it's really cool the way Linklater works, because Linklater brings people into the process, and when you have really smart actors with really great instincts, it just soars. Oh, of course.
How does that even happen? That's always a strange question. I think the basis of it was we could spend 4 hours together and not shut up, and that was like the first clue of, this is someone that I feel incredibly comfortable with. And once you feel comfortable with someone, there's a layer of trust and respect that you just kind of, you free yourself and you open yourself up to allow that kind of chemistry to live. But I think the basis of it is just respect and trust. And we spent so much time together just rehearsing and talking about it, and we both had one common goal, which was to make the best version of this movie we possibly could. When we first started talking about, do you remember that, about the sex scenes? When we first started talking,
yeah, it's an awkward conversation,
and Rick and Glenn are, two Southern boys, are so respectful and only wanted everything to be so comfortable for me, and were so polite about everything that it got to the point that I was like, guys, it's sex. Let's just talk about it normal.
Yeah.
My God.
Yeah, it's delicate.
I remember the both of you your faces just went like super red. I was like, no, this is what we have to do in order for this movie to work, is that I feel so comfortable just talking about it and building it, because we were in the writing process.
Yeah.
And I was like, we have to write this, so we better be able to talk about it.
It's so true. I mean, I will say it's really an awkward thing, because as a writer on this, I am writing a sex scene with you that I will also be a part of. Feels a little,
we both were kind of, I was part of that writing process because we were in that rehearsal. So as you're writing, I'm also there. So you're just like.
And the one thing you did though was, remember we got the pictures?
Oh yeah.
We started putting together like different images that we found to be like sexy or representative of like what is something we haven't seen on screen before, what actually is authentically sexy. So we had like a bunch of these images. Yeah. Do you remember we were referring to it and be like this, and like this would, and
or how does that moment get created? Like,
yeah.
How can we make a scene that kind of gets to that specific moment or whatever that was?
Yeah.
And it made it really just creative and collaborative. And also for me, it was such a wonderful experience because I had ownership of the kind of sex scene that I was going to put myself through. I think sometimes you're just thrown into it and someone just writes something for you and you kind of have to go and do it. Here, I had very much a say of what kind of things I was doing, what I wanted to do, and I was the one making the decisions.
It's so true.
In that scenario, and I think you and Rick both took a step back and were like, well, that's your call on all of it. And it was really, I've never had that power, and it was great. I wish it happened more like that.
I totally agree, and I think that was the interesting part, is like the fact that was built together as a team. It's also like sex scenes are like a feeling; they're not an act, and like movies are a feeling. And like the fact that we were like, okay, how do we create that feeling after a scene like that you really feel invested in the two of us in a way that like it feels like the ultimate form of sexiness.
Yeah.
And that's all, Audria, the ultimate form of sexiness.
Not true.
彼はプロのおとり捜査官。
I'm a fake hitman.
Madison.
その依頼人との出会いが人生を狂わせる。
He let go. You think you're Gary? The hitman.
彼の見つけた自分の本当に生きるべき姿とは。
We'll see.
Hitman